Alright, now comes time for the third one in the snow. We're going to do a snow storm. This is just going to be taking the same properties, the same basic elements that we've done in the first two, and then just adding some more velocity to it and a little bit more of a force to it, just to give it the extra push that we need to make it feel like a storm. So let's go ahead and go to our hierarchy, create, go back down to our particle system. If you followed along with the first two, the snow light and the snow heavy, then you should be able to just go through these first steps without even thinking about it. We're going to take our position to 0, 8, and 0. So we have our particle right here. We're going to go ahead and switch out the rendering type on the material. So we'll just drag our snow material over to the material right there. Let's go ahead and close this one up. Let's go up to the particle systems inside our settings. Again, the duration side, we just want it to last for a second on a loop. Pre-warm, we don't really need to worry about pre-warm or start delay or anything. The start lifetime, how long is it going to last? Let's go ahead and just say it lasts for about 2. Instead of being 5 seconds, we're going to say 2 seconds. We're also going to say the speed that it starts with is 0. Our start size, like we did before, we're going to use the random between two constants, and we're kind of sticking with a 0.05 and a 0.075 for size, so that it's just nice and small like that. The rotation, remember we were choosing the random between two constants, 0 to 360. That way we have a little bit more of an option for it to rotate, just in case you have a snowflake or an image that you want to see in different directions. The start color, we've been doing the start color about halfway. You can go halfway, or you can go, since it's a storm, the snow itself might be a little bit thicker, so you could make these a little bit more solid, maybe take it up to 150, 160 range. Alright. Gravity and velocity on the inherent part here, both of those still set to 0. Our simulation space we'll go ahead and put to world again. The max particle, since it is a blizzard, we'll go ahead and set this one up to the 2000 range. In our in the emitter, the emissions, our rate beforehand, we had about 400. We could go 500 to 700, somewhere around there. I'll go for about a 550 or so. Inside of shapes, we're still going to use that box, same way that we did before. So to cover our square, it was 20 by 20, and we'll do by 0. So we're really just kind of repeating those same steps we've done so far, and it's just setting this up again. And it works pretty well though, because if you think about it, if you're able to set this up from memory, if you're wanting to be a particle guy, then do these over and over again, get them down, memorize them, because it's going to be part of the areas that you pull from for knowledge, so that you know how to address different issues in different particles. For velocity, we're going to use the velocity like we've done before. We're going to do the option for the 2 on the constants. This time though, instead of being a softer velocity in terms of movement, let's go ahead and make this one a little bit more. We're going to do a -4, and we'll do we'll try a -1. Let's see how this one looks. Yeah. So it's moving enough that it feels like it's a storm. It's not like a blizzard. You know, a blizzard you might go for, let's see, a -10. 10 if you kind of get the feeling that feels like something coming at you with force. But we're not looking for blizzard, we're just looking for a storm. So we'll go for about a -4 on it. And then same thing for the y, we'll use just the same ones. We'll do a -4 and a -1. Now notice I'm trying to make the storm is coming in a direction. We could do -4 and +4. And we could do +4 here, but at this point you've just got flurries. It's just everything's going in all different directions. With a storm, typically you think of it as something with a wind that's going in one direction. So we have the -4 to 1 on both of those, which is going to give us this nice force going that direction. Alright, and then the last thing we need to do is set the how hard we want to push it downwards with our velocity. What's the speed of it going down? And let's try, we'll go for like a -5, -6. Let's see, maybe around a -7. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's a little bit hard. We could take it up just a little bit and see. Yeah, there we go. So now when you're kind of facing it, you kind of get that feeling that the snow is just pouring out at you. A nice strong wind blowing against you. Alright, so that'll be our velocity on there. Let's go to our force over lifetime and check this one. So same idea that we've done before, we'll do the two constants on it. I'm going to go ahead and keep these variables low though. We'll still do like the standard, like a -0.1 or -0.2, somewhere around there. And then on the y, we'll go ahead and just do the same thing. There we go. So just enough to add that little extra variance to it. So if you notice, if I take this over, you can, if you're watching here, you can kind of see that as you start to drag it, you're going to start to see that different effect and how it's actually blowing differently into it. So you can keep them, for me I'm going to keep them low, but if you want to add, if you want to make it a little bit more crazy of a storm, then just continue to add the force. Alright, so those are going to be there, and then like we did before, instead of having them where they pop like this, let's go ahead and go to our color over lifetime and click on the color option, and inside for the gradient editor, we're going to do just like we've done before. We'll click on the top one. Remember, this is the alpha bar. We'll click on this and drag it to 0, and left click on the other pointer and take it to 0. And then we need to add 2 into here, so just left click here and left click there. When you click, you'll see it selected. Click on it, drag the alpha back up to the max on 255. Left click on the other one, drag it up to 255. And we'll do the same like we've done before when it comes to the placement. And we'll set this one at 30, and we'll set the other one at 70. And they could also be at, you could do 25-75, you could do 30-70. Alright. The main thing though is just to have it so that when you see it, they fade in, they show, and then they fade out. So that's going to be that color over lifetime. Alright. And then the force, the other part you can do with force, and this is something you can do with both of them, is you could change it to world as well, and then that's going to just change up how the force is being pushed down over the object. And remember, because we're doing most of these settings under the world coordinate space, is that when I move it, I'm actually able to move it and it just drops the snow into place. Alright, go ahead and 0 those two back out again. So that's going to be a nice fill of a storm that you're going through. And whenever you're doing particles for any type of game, remember, this is only layer 1. You'll have a layer of storm pieces that go like this. You'll have a layer of storm like dust or cold breeze that's blowing by. You can have debris that's blowing in through it. You can have larger pieces. You can have if there's houses and things, you may have areas where the snow is creating a snowdrift and a snowbank against something. So when you're working through these, consider all of those. Every time you think of one of those elements, think of it as a separate particle that you're going to want to create and build in that specific location. Alright, so there's that part of it. We'll go ahead and relabel this one. We'll just call this snow, and we'll say storm for it. And then just left click and drag the snow storm over to your storm, the snow folder. So now we have our snow light, snow heavy, and snowstorm. Alright, so there you go. Those are all the 3 different types of storms, snow type pieces. Feel free to play with those, change up textures, change up sizes and the rate, and kind of get a good feel for how you can create some environmental elements with it.